Hello, good evening. Welcome to ITV News. This is Wednesday's calendar.
Hello, thank you for joining us, and here are tonight's main stories.
Bang out of order. The Bradford residents who say constant late-night fireworks are making their lives a misery.
If fireworks are going on at 1 o'clock in the morning, your kids have got off school at 7 and they're waking up at 6.
We didn't hear fireworks 20 years ago. Now it's a ritual.
Journey of recovery. How, for the first time in hundreds of years, wild salmon are breeding in the River Don once more.
From Hollywood to Hemsworth, following the runaway success of Adolescence, Wakefield vies to become the capital of British filmmaking.
I'm here at the production park where the smash hit series was filmed. Join me later to find out how a new film initiative hopes to capitalise on that.
And healthy habits. We catch up with, or at least try to, Yorkshire's sprinting monk who's in the running for a Pride of Britain award. Good evening. First tonight, bereaved parents have hope tonight that the Health Secretary will order a full public inquiry into maternity services at hospitals in Leeds following serious failings in care that they say have led to preventable deaths and trauma over many years.
Families who suffered the loss of a child in Leeds say a national review announced by the government on Monday would not go nearly far enough. And today they met Wes Streeting to convince him that only a full independent inquiry will find the answers they've been calling for and prevent further deaths from happening.
Well, Lisa Adlam has spoken to them this afternoon. And Lisa, what exactly have they had to say?
Well, they certainly had a lot to say to Wes Streeting when they met him this morning. And as far as I gathered, they left him in no doubt as to the strength of their anger and their devastation that they feel over the care, or rather the lack of it, that they received at Leeds Teaching Hospitals NHS Trust. And they told him that they don't want their babies' deaths to have been in vain.
But we did hear on Monday, didn't we, that Leeds will be part of this 3-month so-called rapid review into maternity services. Why are the families pushing for more?
Well, because they say that timescale, the very fact it's called rapid review, the fact it's taking in 13 other health trusts that are being looked at, just will scratch the surface. It won't go nearly deeply enough to address the problems that they say have existed in Leeds for very many years, and only a full public inquiry can give them the answers and accountability that they've been asking for, and also bring about real change.
This is still happening in the system, and if not Leeds, where else? Like, what level of failings need to happen to warrant an inquiry? We also said, obviously, the rapid review just doesn't go far enough. So this needs to be something that's done, and if it's not done now, you're going to come back to it in 6 months' time and say, well, I need to do it now.
This is the one chance for the hospital to actually make the improvements, for them to learn to reinstill a culture of care, of safety, of listening to women, to families, and just save lives. You know, and that's what we want, is to not have what we've gone through happen to other families.
And having described their loss and their trauma to the Health Secretary, they said they were optimistic that he was listening and that something would change.
He originally said, let me go away and think about it, and we said, no, we want some form of commitment from you right here, right now. And he respected that, and so we now have this date to work towards, and we're hoping that he makes the right decision.
Well, a spokesperson for the Department of Health said they were grateful for the courage that all the families had shown in telling their stories, and added the repeated failures in Leeds was shocking, and they would be looking very closely at how to make the improvements that were needed. Well, Leeds Teaching Hospitals Trust hasn't actually commented today, but on Monday it did say it welcomed a national review and any improvements that could be made. The Health Secretary has told families he'll come back to them again in early October, and that's something that they will definitely be holding him to.
Lisa Adlam, thank you very much for the update on that one. Well, next to the antisocial use of fireworks in Bradford, which local campaigners have described as a menace for people who just want a decent night's sleep.
Yes, residents across the city say the persistent noise and disturbance from the late-night explosions has increased over the past 2 years. and it's now almost a nightly occurrence, despite it being against the law to set them off after 11 p.m. Well, now some are calling for a ban on the sale to the public, except on certain occasions. Amelia Beckett reports.
In the middle of the night, into the early hours of the morning, fireworks blast around Bradford. While some are used responsibly, others are being recklessly fired at all hours, and residents have had enough.
We're talking about 1 a.m, 2 a.m. It's affecting people's ability to sleep.
Abbas runs a charity which provides therapy to vulnerable adults in the city and says the fireworks are having a huge impact.
What we've been told by people who suffer from anxiety and depression is that the fireworks are a real problem. It makes their anxiety and depression a lot worse. It affects the ability of their children to sleep through the night. So the kids are tired in the morning, they themselves are tired in the morning, and it's making everyone's days worse.
And at this barbershop just off Horton Grange Road, customers consistently highlight the issue.
People are really disturbed about it. Really disturbed. If fireworks are going on at 1 o'clock in the morning, your kids have got school at 7, and they're waking up at 6, you know, whose responsibility is? It's our community's responsibility.
The law currently limits the use of fireworks after 11 p.m, except for certain occasions such as bonfire night and Diwali. There are also rules on the sale of the loudest, Category 4. But anti-firework campaigner Inaya wants an all-right ban on the sale of fireworks apart from these occasions. Her WhatsApp group now has almost 200 members in support.
If you live in BD5 and you set off fireworks, you can hear them all the way to BD9, which is 2 to 3 miles away. And it's not a weekly event, it's a daily event. It didn't used to we didn't hear fireworks 20 years ago. Now it's a ritual.
Councillor Nazam Azam says the council shares residents' frustrations and is now calling on the government to change the law on the sales of the loudest and most powerful fireworks.
It's a difficult subject which is out of the hands of local authorities. So Bradford Council can do very little to actually eradicate the nuisance of fireworks. It has to be a governmental level policy, law change, and without that, unfortunately, it's going to continue.
The government told us there's already a maximum legal noise level set for fireworks and time restrictions on when they can be used, but they understand the disturbance they cause. But no word on whether there'll be a change in the law and whether residents here will finally get some peace. Amelia Beckett, ITV News, Bradford.
Yes, I wonder what you think about that story there. Well, next, a coroner has raised concerns over the death of a mother from Malton who drowned in the River Derwent last October. Victoria Taylor was found 3 weeks after she'd gone missing from her home. An inquest revealed she had a history of anxiety and alcohol misuse triggered by childhood trauma. In a Prevention of Future Deaths report, the coroner flagged that there was no coordination between agencies when dealing with Ms Taylor in order to provide the support that she needed.
Police are seeing an increase in illegal riding of e-bikes across North Yorkshire, including in York city centre. Footage from the force shows the bikes being driven dangerously over the Ouse Bridge after dark. North Yorkshire Police are working to identify and locate the drivers after they fled from the scene. Officers say the dangerous driving of e-bikes puts the safety of pedestrians and motorists at risk and can also intimidate members of the public.
Union leaders have written to the government warning of the serious risk of a major accident at Lindsey Oil Refinery because of falling staff levels. The refinery was placed into liquidation in June after its owner, Prax Group, went into administration. The letter, seen by Calendar, says that due to critical staff leaving the refinery, the site is at risk of being put into an unsafe and dangerous state. The union has called for better financial retention packages for workers. The Insolvency Service, however, said that there is no truth to claims that the refinery is unsafe.
Well, you are, of course, watching Wednesday night's Calendar with Lara and Ian. Thanks for being with us. Still to come tonight. Oh, run, all ye faithful. How 81-year-old Father John became known as the Sprinting Monk and is now in the running for an ITV Pride of Britain Award.
And the weather isn't really calming down, but it is warming up. But what does that exactly mean for our part of the world? Of course, your full forecast a little later on.
Thank you, Kerry. Well, some good news now, at least if you're a salmon. We hear a lot about the poor state of our waterways in the UK, don't we? But officers from the Don Catchment Rivers Trust were delighted when their years of hard work was shown to be finally paying dividends.
Well, the evidence came with their discovery of a baby salmon known as a par, proving that they're actually breeding in the Don for the first time in hundreds of years. Adam Fowler's been to find out more.
Electrofishing in the River Don. This team from the Don Catchment Rivers Trust are carrying out important work to establish the health of the river.
That's where we put a mild electrical current into the water and it attracts the fish, temporarily stuns them and gives them an opportunity to catch them in the net. And then we get them into the bucket and we sort of count them and identify them. You can sort of see all the fish that we get. We've found a mixture of species. We've found some grayling, which is really a good indicator of good water quality. Lots of bullheads and some stone loach today.
But that's not all they've found. They recently discovered a wild-born Atlantic salmon. The fish have been in the River Don since about 2019, but this is the first evidence in hundreds of years that they're actually breeding here.
It's absolutely amazing. For our trustees at the Trust, it's their life's work, really, to get salmon breeding in the Don. For me, I've been working on a lot of projects that have involved the salmon, so yeah, it's just fantastic.
The river it's got good water quality. More importantly, it's got good fish passage. Adult salmon come back from sea, where they'll be eating and growing and becoming bigger and adults. So they'll be coming up our rivers and looking to spawn.
In the 1970s, the river was considered ecologically dead. Through changes in legislation and a 20-year programme of fish passage improvement, it means a dramatically healthier river, after salmon were wiped out by pollution and man-made barriers in the 18th and 19th centuries. But there's still a lot of work to be done.
Passage isn't completely clear all the way up the Don yet, and we also need to help them get back down to the sea. They struggle to sort of, when they're young, to swim over the weir, so we also need to work on passage that way.
We're just at the start of our journey, so what we want is to further improve fish passage into the upper reaches. So that's where the fish really want to get. They want to get as far up into the catchment as they can. So that's where the water quality is the best, that's where the habitat's the best, and they've got the best chance of breeding successfully.
Any fish caught as part of the survey are put back into the river to join a growing number of fish of all ages. Adam Fowler, ITV News, Sheffield.
That's great news, isn't it? Now, the ITV Evening News continues at 6:30. Here's a look at what's happening with Lucrezia Millerini.
I'll be live from Windsor, where the royal family welcomed President Trump for a historic second state visit. The President and the First Lady, Melania, were greeted by the King and Queen for the royal occasion, but all behind the castle walls. This was the closest the public got to the pomp and pageantry inside. Also on the programme, the Met's prime suspect in Madeleine McCann's disappearance is out of jail in Germany. Plus, inflation remains steady, but the cost of food is surging. We look at why and what it means for interest rates. All that and much more at 6:30.
Thanks very much, Lucrezia. Now then, for many people, the only time they'll ever set foot inside a church is to attend a wedding, a christening or a funeral. But that could be changing.
Church attendance is set to be on the up, and the Bible Society reckons that's because more under 35s are filling the pews. More Bibles are also being sold.
Well, it's something churches across Yorkshire and Lincolnshire say they've been noticing for some time, as James Webster has been finding out.
If someone told you they're going to church, this church in Bradford might not be what you imagine.
This building was actually nightclubs, and then started a church here from nothing to enable people who wouldn't ordinarily come into contact with the gospel of Jesus to come into contact with the gospel of Jesus.
People like Abby and Biko, who met here and are now married.
Yeah, well, we both moved to the area for work, and then met at the church, we're friends first.
And I think this church is also very open. Lots of people think lots of different things about faith. You're welcome to come and explore it. It's not like if you don't believe this exact theology, we don't ascribe to you.
But God called Abraham into a special relationship.
And it's an increase in young people attending, which the Bible Society says is leading what it's called a quiet revival in churches. Attendance up 50% since 2018, even more in under 35s. At St Lawrence's Church in Hatfield near Doncaster, they've recently moved their family service to fit in better with when people can attend.
So we changed our family service to 4 o'clock and we found really quickly that our numbers increased quite rapidly. So just a very simple change which had a big effect.
Did Jesus really die? Well, that's a good question.
The Church of England says social media is now often the first way people interact with the church.
My name is Mother Emily and this is my outfit of the day for Easter Sunday.
Some people that are watching our social media content, our TikToks, have never been to church, have never had any kind of connection with their local church. So we're finding comments being left on our social media channels about how to attend church, what they need to do, where they can go.
Bible sales have doubled since 2019 to 2024, which is extraordinary. And actually it's young people buying the Bibles, and the Church of England has grown for 4 years in a row. First time in 80 years we're seeing growth in the Church of England amongst children and young people.
All praise to the Holy Spirit.
With young people apparently reaching out, the Church of England hopes this is now the start of ending years of decline. James Webster, ITV News, Bradford.
Ah, very interesting. Well, next, Kylie's been there, as have Pink and Coldplay. Well, the likes of the Spice Girls have also used its services. Can you guess what I'm talking about, Ian?
Well, it sounds like a studio in Hollywood, Lara.
Well, almost. If I told you it was a big warehouse near Wakefield, would you be surprised?
Maybe a little bit surprised, but maybe not surprised because of the great transport links, and it's well connected, isn't it, Wakey?
It's in a good place, isn't it? Well, today, Production Park near Wakefield is aiming to get its name even more firmly on the map. Hot off the success of the Netflix drama Adolescence.
Yes, that was filmed entirely in and around the park, and at the weekend the show won no less than 6 Emmy Awards. That was in Hollywood, by the way. Well, Helen Steele is there for us now. Let's join her live. And Helen, what's going on?
Well, Ian, maybe not quite so much as when Kylie was here, as you say, but there are a fair few things going on. And if you've never heard of Film Wakefield, well, you have now, haven't you? I'm at the production park where plenty of big names, as you say, have been included. Well, look at this guy. Speaking of big, he was part of a music film for The Prodigy. But of course, that Netflix series Adolescence has been the biggest success to come out of here recently. We've got a table full of crew and some of the extras. We've got some of the costumes here, and we've also got David here. Now, he was not only in it as an extra, weren't you? You are now part of Film Wakefield. How will this success, you know, the Emmys, everything, how will that help Film Wakefield?
I think it's a great accolade for Wakefield that Adolescence was filmed here, and it will now help shine a light on Wakefield for other people, other productions to come and film in the Yorkshire area, particularly Wakefield, where we've got the infrastructure now that they desperately need.
Thank you so much for that. And of course, it doesn't just take one guy, does it? It takes a whole host of people, and there are plenty of organisations involved, including the council. I'm just going to interrupt your drinking there, Claire, sorry. Tell me a bit about why Wakefield is such a draw for filmmaking, or it should be.
Well, Wakefield is a fantastic district. It's very diverse. It has rolling hills, it has beautiful buildings, it has locations of all types, and it's got a really good spirit, creative DNA. It's got Hepworth, it's got the Yorkshire Sculpture Park, it's got fantastic places, and the passion of the people here are unsurpassable.
And of course you need infrastructure, so how is that going to work?
Well, the important thing is making it really easy for productions to come in with a good supply chain. So a supply chain to a film industry is almost anything you could think of. It could even be dog supplies. It could be anything. It could be pets, but it's most likely to be hotel accommodation, crew, restaurants, food,
anything and everything. Thank you so much for that. And of course, I'm going to come back to David now because there may be some more films coming here. Have you got any room for maybe a cameraman and a reporter?
Maybe we could squeeze you in, yeah, for sure.
Well, tell you what, I'm now going to go to Sean here. Sean, what does it take to be an extra? You were one, go.
You've got to be professional.
Yep.
You've got to enjoy it. You come on set, smile, and whatever you do.
So maybe I'm not going to be back here then. Thank you so much. Back to you.
Oh, Helen, thank you very much indeed. I can't wait to see you in a movie soon.
She'd be brilliant as an extra, wouldn't she?
Yeah. Well, out of the third of our nominees hoping to become Canada's representative at the Daily Mirror Pride of Britain Awards. Each year, one fantastic fundraiser gets to represent ITV Yorkshire and attend the awards in London.
Yeah, tonight it's the turn of Father John Gribben from Leeds, whose life of religious devotion runs alongside another passion. And when we say runs alongside, well, here's Sarah Clark to explain.
In the most spiritual of settings, Father John, an Anglican monk, devotes his life to prayer and charity.
The heavens declare the glory of God.
Amid the calm, he enjoys a faster habit. Known as the sprinting monk, he takes to the track in trainers, doing circuits of the monastery in Wakefield, picking up speed along the way.
I run because I love running. I started when I was middle-aged. I had been non-athletic at school. I did my best to get out of any physical activity that there was. But one day I thought, I wonder, could I do this? And I tried. And after about a quarter of a mile, I think I collapsed and said, never again. But went on doing it. And the sprint, when it happens, and it's over in sometimes seconds, sometimes minutes, but it's ecstasy, it's being outside of yourself almost.
Father John's devotion to running has earned him various medals, but led by his faith to help others, he's raised tens of thousands of pounds for charities, including one which supports disadvantaged young people in southern Africa, run by his fellow brother, Father Nicholas.
The winning of the medal doesn't matter, it's only a kind of a mark. You've passed something. I could run, I loved running, so that's how I got into using it that way. I raised the money because I want to help and I want to give something back. A short video from kids in Zimbabwe, each one just saying thank you. It went on and on and on. But I found that quite emotional.
Oh, it's been amazing. To have that little old guy running for us and running miles and miles and miles has been fantastic. Terira means hope in the Shona language in Zimbabwe. It gives kids in Zimbabwe hope by getting them into education and turning their lives around.
And at 81, Father John is determined to keep the pace when it comes to fundraising.
The knees creak a bit more now than they did. Certainly when I started, but I'll carry as long as I can run, and if I'm able to do it. It might just be the washing up for the rest of my life, but I'll try and do it.
Oh, Father John, what a lovely man. And we'll feature our last fantastic fundraiser on tomorrow's programme.
Yeah, make sure you tune in tomorrow, won't you? Now then, hello, Kerry.
Hi.
It felt quite hot today.
Yeah, it was. That's why.
Oh.
Well, I wouldn't say hot, warm.
No, it did in the sun.
22. We were the top spot for the whole of the UK. So Bridlington, Bramham and Hull all got to 22 Celsius today. And it was much improved, wasn't it? This morning was horrible. If you're driving first thing this morning, all of that rain, not very nice. But by the afternoon, even at Scarborough, 20 degrees today. Really impressive. A big thank you to Hetty for sending this shot, and also to Bill for sending this one looking towards Leeds from Kippax. So just a reminder, we got 20 to 22 today. The average is around 18. The overnight average is around 10. Over the next couple of days, we could even get a little bit warmer, 23, maybe even 24. But it's warm and muggy. There's a lot of moisture in the air. By the end of the weekend into next week, though, it's going to feel very different. Highs of 14, and you'd see the last time we had 14 was the 2nd of May, which is 4.5 months ago, 20 weeks ago. It's going to feel really different. So the only thing I think that likes the warm and humid conditions, it's fungi season. A big thank you to Nigel for these fairy ink caps. Here's your weather for the next few days.
A clear start makes way for a day of ancient discoveries. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Yes, it certainly was a soggy start first thing this morning, certainly putting the umbrellas to work, but we saw a brightening story into the afternoon with some breaks in the cloud and some sunshine, and definitely some sunshine in the mix over the next couple of days. I think the focus will be the feel of those temperatures, often quite windy. Showers or longer spells of rain never too far away. Low pressure to the north and this trailing front, and we're left in this warm sector as we head through into tomorrow and Friday. And then this trailing front comes all the way back to this area of low pressure on Saturday. It looks quite wet. Thereafter, quite cold from the north. So lots going on over the next few days. Over the next few hours, actually quieter, drier and clearer. A little bit of a breeze throughout the night, so nothing too low, but I do think in rural spots in North and West Yorkshire could be dipping into single figures, but certainly for towns and cities we're in double figures, and where the front is potentially lingering down towards parts of North Nottinghamshire could be 15 or 16 for much of the night. As we head into tomorrow, then most of us waking up to a dry and relatively clear start. 6:44 and 7:16 are your sun times, but it's this front. It's waving. We don't know how far north it will actually push, so it could produce quite a bit of cloud around for the middle part of the day, and then some showers and some low cloud developing over the Yorkshire Dales. Elsewhere, further south and east, brighter but breezy, feeling warm in shelter, 22 or 23 Celsius, but with quite high humidity. Similar story on Friday. I think the further north and west you are, the higher risk of some showers. That rain on Saturday and then colder thereafter.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
I like your friend, he looks like an angry bird.
Oh, it's a tree sparrow, but I think we'll all have an expression like this, won't we, by the time we reach the weekend? Rain and then colder.
He's got great eyeshadow on, hasn't
It's
he?
brilliant, I love it. Thank
You've
you,
got
Beverly.
that colour, haven't you?
Somewhere, yeah.
See you tomorrow. Good night. Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye. Bye.